Alright everyone, welcome back to WIP Wednesday. I'm just gonna jump right into my projects. So I'm gonna start off with my scarf first. So I have made some progress on this. Since last week I had quite a bit of time in the car. I don't know what's going on with this. At first I was decreasing stitches, and then I started increasing stitches, and then I started decreasing again. So it's like super tiny up here, and it's like a little bit longer in the middle here, and then it's tiny. I don't know. I'm a little bit frustrated by this one. I do think part of it is because I do crochet a lot of this while I'm not actually like looking at the piece, so I know that's why it's not the best on the edges. I really do hope that blocking this, like, you could really clearly see the dips in this part, like how it's raised on like this side and then lower on this side. I'm just kind of struggling with this one. I was getting very frustrated with this one while I was in the car, and like I mentioned, like, this yarn doesn't really frog well, so if I tried to frog this, I would honestly probably just have to start over. So it is what it is for now. I'm taking a little bit of a break from this one because it was just frustrating me, like kind of seeing this. It was just making me sad because I'm not going to want to wear it if it doesn't look good. So I'm just taking a break. I'll come back to it and finish it eventually. It is decently long now. It's not I mean, it's kind of scarf length, maybe a little bit longer, but I kind of wanted it to be able to be a scarf that goes like this and around. Maybe like 2/3 of the way to a half of the way done. But I'm taking a break for now. It's not winter anyway, so I'm not going to wear this anytime soon. So I'm going to put this on the shelf for a while. I might not make any progress on this anytime soon. I'm going to go on to my tapestry now, which I have made some decent progress on. I added a few rows of my color. This is most likely going to be the last time I show this in a WIP Wednesday, just because I'm really going to get started on the pattern in these next few rows. And like I've mentioned, this is a present for someone, so I don't want to spoil the surprise. So this is where I'm at. I'm about 10 rows in. I have a lot of progress still to make on this. As you can see, I am doing the intarsia, so I have one white yarn over here, a red, and then another white. Something I have to experiment with is that it caused this, so I don't know if this is a bad idea or not, but I think I'm just gonna cut this and then weave in the end and see how that looks. And I really hope that it doesn't mess it up, because I really don't want this. Like, I really want it to look nice on both sides, and I don't know how to make it like that. Like, you can see it over here too. Like, in some cases it pulled nicely, but in these two it didn't. I think it's because like the white ended here, and then in the next row I needed the white to start over here, so I had to pull the yarn. So I'm going to chop one of these, weave it in, and hope for the best, but we'll see. I'm not doing that just yet. So that is all for my tapestry. And then I do have another project. I know I said last week I was most likely going to get started on some Mother's Day presents, but I actually did not do that. I was a lot busier this past weekend than I thought I was going to be, so I didn't get the chance to start on those. But since I'm pausing on my scarf, I did need a new kind of like mindless pattern to work on for while I'm watching TV, and I'll most likely work on this in the car. So now I have a granny square blanket that I'm going to make. This is going to be for my bed. I have this big giant Canon big cake. I have two of these. I want to make this the size of a queen bed, so I'll have to make this pretty big, but this is honestly me working on it in like 2 hours, and this is how much I was able to build up. So this builds up really fast, so I'm excited to just work on this. A nice mindless project. I mean, there is like minor counting when it comes to the clusters, but it's nothing like too crazy. Like with the tapestry, you have to count. I usually count in tens for the tapestry, but then every single time I do it, I have to mark it off on my iPad to make sure I don't miss counts. And then if something isn't added up, I have to recount the whole row to see if I missed a stitch somewhere, what's going on. So that one's just a little more involved. I can't really like watch a new movie at least, while I'm doing a tapestry. So this is going to be my mindless piece for now. This weekend, I don't have anything planned at all, so I definitely think I'm gonna get started on my Mother's Day presents. So once again, any mothers in my life, for my WIP Wednesday next week, you'll most likely have to tune out at the end. I'll give a little spoiler warning, and I won't include them in the thumbnail, just so it's not like, no spoilers. I don't want anyone to see their present before they get it. But that is the only update on my WIPs. I do kind of want to, this is a very off topic and nothing to do with WIPs, but this kind of calls back to my book review. So I know earlier in the year I finished the Housemaid book, and while I was crocheting this, I watched the Housemaid movie while I was doing this, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update what I thought on it, and I actually really liked the movie. I think the movie did a good job of sticking to the book, but also making like minor changes where necessary. This is like a spoiler warning for the Housemaid if you haven't watched it or read the book and you plan on it. But for example, in the book, it kind of goes into a lot more detail of like different types of punishments Nina received from Andrew up in the attic, where in the movie, obviously we're not going to see repeatedly Nina do something, get punished, go upstairs, all that kind of stuff. In the movie, it's kind of presented as Nina is writing a letter to Cece for when Cece either gets older or if Nina dies. So it makes sense that instead of going into all of the detail and reliving all of these tortures with Nina, we're just kind of getting like, we see the first one explained in full detail, kind of like giving the ground rules of how this punishment works, and then she just kind of lists some other reasons she got punished, which are reasons in the book. So I like that. Another thing I liked is, at least from my memory, Andrew's mother is not in the book. She's like mentioned in the book, but we don't specifically see her in their house in the book. Where I did like that in the movie, she is kind of like a figure, lays kind of like a nice groundwork as to like clearly this is like a family trauma from Andrew, and the punishment that he puts Nina under is clearly something he underwent as a child. So I did like the inclusion of the mom, and I just think overall they did a good job of translating the story from the book into the movie. I do wish we got to see some more of the gardener. I believe his name was Jose. I feel like he was very absent from the movie, and like in the book he tries to warn Nina multiple times to leave, and I feel like in the movie he only tried to warn her like once, maybe twice. So I feel like that could have kind of contributed to the movie a little more, could have been a little bit more of a part. And then even at the end, I feel like they don't go into as enough detail about, first of all, how much Jose is helping Nina, and secondly, like why he's helping Nina. At least from me watching it, I didn't really get either of those motives. Obviously, having read the book, I knew those motives ahead of time, but I wish that was just explored a little bit more in the movie. I know for like time crunch, it's kind of hard to have a whole nother like subplot involving Jose, but it is kind of integral as to like how and why Nina get out. But overall, I really liked the movie. I hope that they do a second one. I haven't read the second book yet, but I have a feeling that one will be a much different genre. Kind of like how I said with the book. Like going into the second book, like you know that the whole reason Millie is getting hired is basically to be like a hitman on this woman's husband. Like she's hiring him to be like, hey, Nina recommended you kill my husband. That's basically what she's saying. And then even more so in the movie, she's like, yeah, Nina recommended you. My husband could use some real help taken care of. He really needs to be taken care of. And she's like playing with a knife or whatever. So the second movie would definitely be a much different vibe, because Millie wasn't really trying to be a seductress in the first one, where in the in the second one, the whole reason she's there is to basically try and seduce the husband to divorce the wife and kill him, would be my presumption, which is much different than the first movie, where she thinks, first movie and book, where she thinks that she's falling into this amazing lifestyle that she never thought she'd be able to have otherwise. She thinks that she's falling in love, where in the second one, I mean, she knows she's not. She knows that she's there to kill him. It's almost like she's gonna become like a Dexter for like the rich men. She's gonna just like kill all the bad rich men. But I hope they do. I hope they do a second movie, and I definitely want to read the second book. Sorry to go completely off topic, but I have been thinking about this movie since I finished the book, so I'm glad it finally came onto streaming so I could watch it. And I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys in case anyone was wondering what I thought based on the book compared to the movie. I know that's always a hot topic when books get adapted into movies. Anyway, that's all I have for today. See you guys next week at WIP Wednesday. You'll see all of these projects, and you'll most likely see some new projects as well. My Mother's Day presents. So see you guys next week. Bye!